Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to our deep dive into the fascinating and, well, often turbulent world of artificial intelligence.
It really is moving fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Today, we're seeing AI kind of grow up at warp speed. It's moving way beyond just chatbots.
Right.
We're talking high-stakes, national security, intense corporate power struggle.
Yeah, the landscape is shifting dramatically.
So our mission today is to explore two really seismic shifts. First, OpenAI's big new $200 million Pentagon contract. And second, the growing friction in its partnership with Microsoft, a partnership that once looked totally solid.
Almost unbreakable, yeah.
Exactly. And these aren't just separate stories. They really show the power dynamics shaping AI's future. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So let's kick things off with OpenAI's move into national security. This feels like a pretty huge strategic pivot, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for a company that started with such a focus on, openness and benefiting humanity.
Right. So what's the core of this Pentagon deal? What are we actually looking at?
Well, the concrete step is this. The U.S. Department of Defense, specifically through their Chief Digital and AI Office, the CDAO,
Okay.
they've awarded OpenAI Public Sector LLC a $200 million contract. And look, this isn't just some small test run. It's substantial.
$200 million is definitely substantial. So what are the actual goals? What does the Pentagon want to get out of this?
It's about building prototype AI systems. The idea is to tackle critical national security challenges.
Okay, like what specifically?
Think about applications in warfighting, as they call it, but also broader enterprise domains. So analyzing huge data sets for strategy,
Right.
boosting operational intelligence, basically giving decision makers better tools to handle complex information faster.
That sounds like a significant step up from AI's usual roles. Where's this work happening, and what's the timeline?
It's mainly based in Washington, D.C., and the target for completion is July 2026.
Okay.
But the really crucial background piece here is that OpenAI quietly dropped its policy against military uses early in 2024.
Right. I remember that causing a stir.
Exactly. That policy change basically opened the door for this kind of contract. Without that, this wouldn't be happening.
That policy shift really is profound, though. I mean, for a company built on that benefit all humanity idea, what kind of discussions do you think are happening internally about ditching that stance?
Oh, you have to assume it's causing some intense debate. I mean, it's a huge shift in their public and likely internal ethos.
Yeah.
Publicly, they'll frame it as, necessary engagement for national security. But internally, they must be grappling with the dual use problem.
Dual use, meaning tech for good can also be used for harm.
Precisely. How technology built for, say, better analysis could be applied in conflict. It's a really tricky balance they're trying to strike.
And are they doing this defense work all by themselves?
No, not at all. They're actually teaming up with others. Carasoft is involved for the government contracting side of things.
Okay.
And importantly, they're leveraging Microsoft and Palantir to handle the classified AI services aspect.
Interesting. So it's an ecosystem approach.
Definitely. It shows they need different expertise, especially when dealing with sensitive defense projects.
Now, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, he's been pretty open about this, hasn't he? What's his take?
Yes, he spoke about it at Vanderbilt University. He said OpenAI is, quote, proud to dive into national security work.
Proud. Okay.
Yeah. He seems to view this contract as proof that AI is becoming like a core part of military strategy, moving from theory to actual deployment. He sees it as a natural step.
Okay, $200 million is a lot, but OpenAI's overall revenue is reportedly much larger, like $10 billion a year. So why is this contract such a big deal, maybe beyond just the money, for the whole AI industry?
That's the key question. It's less about the specific dollar amount for OpenAI's bottom line and more about what it symbolizes.
Okay, symbolizes what?
It's AI's official entry into the, let's call it, the big leagues of national security. It legitimizes using these advanced frontier AI models.
The really powerful ones.
Exactly. The ones doing complex language stuff and analysis legitimizes them for military use. It sets a huge precedent.
But precedent for other AI companies.
Absolutely. Every other AI firm is watching this. It essentially signals that AI isn't just a consumer gadget anymore. It's a strategic national asset. It's AI maturing, really.
So it's like giving the military a super smart assistant for complex tasks. Sifting data, aiding strategy.
Kind of, yeah. A very sophisticated tool.
But you mentioned the ethics earlier. This military integration, it obviously raises some big questions, doesn't it?
It really does, and this is where the broader societal discussion comes in. Some people worry this pivot could accelerate AI-driven warfare.
Autonomous weapons, that kind of thing.
Potentially, or at least systems where decisions get made with less direct human oversight. It forces us to ask, where do we draw the line?
Right.
How do we ensure these powerful tools are developed and used responsibly, even in a defense context? It's a critical conversation we need to have.
Okay, so OpenAI is flexing its muscles, making a big move into defense, an independent step. But how is this kind of assertiveness affecting its key corporate relationship? Let's shift gears to the friction with Microsoft.
Right, because that partnership, which seems so symbiotic,
Yes.
is definitely showing signs of strain. OpenAI has relied heavily on Microsoft's computing power, their cloud services. It's been their backbone.
But now,
But now they're clearly pushing for more independence, trying to lessen that reliance and get more control over their own tech and future.
so what really sparked this? Was there a specific flashpoint that ramped up the tension?
Well, things reportedly got, let's say, spicier after OpenAI bought Windsurf for about $3 billion.
Windsurf, the AI coding startup.
That's the one. And the core technology Windsurf has could directly compete with Microsoft's own GitHub Copilot.
Ah, okay. So direct competition concerns.
Exactly. OpenAI is apparently worried that Microsoft might use Windsurf's IP, their unique code, their insights.
There's secret sauce.
Right, their secret sauce to boost GitHub Copilot.
Yes.
So it's not just general competition. It's about this specific acquisition and the potential misuse of those assets within the partnership.
That makes sense. It's about protecting their investment and their edge. So what are the whispers? Are OpenAI execs just complaining internally, or is there talk of taking bigger steps?
The reports suggest it's more serious than just whispers. There's talk that OpenAI executives have actually considered publicly accusing Microsoft of anti-competitive behavior.
Wow, really? Going public?
Yeah, specifically related to that IP issue and maybe how resources are shared or allocated within the partnership. It shows how deep the concern is. They might be willing to, play hardball.
Going public would be a massive step.
Yeah.
If this really does boil over, what could happen? What are the potential shockwaves for the industry?
Well, if it escalates to public accusations, it could easily trigger a federal regulatory review of the entire OpenAI-Microsoft partnership.
A regulatory review. That sounds significant.
Hugely significant for the whole AI industry. It could totally reshape how these big tech collaborations are structured, how they're monitored. It could set major precedents.
You used an analogy before about two chefs sharing a kitchen. Can you remind us of that? It seemed quite fitting.
Yeah, it helps visualize it. Imagine OpenAI and Microsoft are these two top chefs. They're sharing a kitchen that's Microsoft's cloud infrastructure.
Okay.
OpenAI buys these new exotic ingredients, that's Windsurf, to make a brand new dish.
Got it.
But they're worried Microsoft, who owns the kitchen, is sort of sneaking a taste of those ingredients to improve their own recipe, GitHub Copilot.
Right. And OpenAI wants its own kitchen.
Exactly. OpenAI wants its own stove and pantry, its own independent infrastructure, but building that is incredibly expensive and takes time. For now, they're stuck using Microsoft's kitchen.
Which gives Microsoft access and leverage.
Precisely. And that's where the friction comes from. That reliance is the most tangible constraint they feel right now. It's the need for that massive computing power that Microsoft provides.
So what happens if OpenAI does manage to build its own kitchen, so to speak? Or if regulators step in? What are the broader ripple effects?
Well, if OpenAI successfully becomes more independent, it could really inspire other AI companies.
Oh.
They might think, okay, maybe we can go it alone, or at least pursue paths that give them more control, make them less vulnerable to their big partners. On the flip side, if regulators do intervene against Microsoft, that could set new rules for the road for all big tech partnerships with smaller AI innovators. It could change how these deals are done.
Okay, so both these stories, the Pentagon deal, the Microsoft tension, they really underscore how fast AI is evolving, don't they?
Absolutely. It's moved far beyond just being about, clever chatbots.
Right. It's a real force in national security now and a major point of contention in corporate strategy.
And if you connect the dots, the Pentagon deal shows AI is ready for mission-critical, high-stakes work. It validates it beyond consumer tech. And the Microsoft situation. It highlights this growing need for AI companies to possibly fight for more independence to protect their own innovations, their IP.
So looking at the big picture, what does this trajectory tell you about where AI is heading overall? It feels like an inflection point.
I think it is. We're really seeing AI shift from being this sort of cool experiment to a core strategic asset for nations and a huge competitive battleground for companies.
And that speed creates challenges, right?
Definitely. This acceleration forces us to confront those tough governance questions. How do we make sure this incredibly powerful technology stays safe, stays fair?
Yeah.
It's this constant balancing act, isn't it? Pushing innovation forward while trying to build guardrails for responsibility and ethics. The ground is shifting almost constantly.
It really is. This deep dive definitely shows AI isn't just a tech story anymore. It's reshaping global security. It's reshaping industry rivalries. It's exciting, but also, challenging.
Couldn't agree more.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about. How will this increasing integration of AI into military applications really change global power dynamics over, say, the next 10 years? And what role will these increasingly independent AI companies, like OpenAI, ultimately play in shaping that future?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
It certainly feels like it. Okay, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into OpenAI's major shifts. We hope this discussion has given you a clearer perspective on these really critical developments.
And hopefully some food for thought.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and stay curious.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.